Well, as it says here, this video was prepared by Charles Bland. That's me speaking. My father was Charles A. Bland, and my mother was Mary Ernest Johnson. She was the daughter of Charlie Johnson and Cornelia Johnson. Grandmother's mother was Mary Elizabeth Jackson, who married Thaddeus P. Dean. And you can see this here in the excerpt from Ancestry.com. My great-grandmother and great-grandfather had 8 children. They're listed here, and most of them actually lived in or near the family home place. My grandmother and grandfather had 3 children, and they're listed here, and now you know most of the people that we'll be talking about. This map from the State Historical Society shows the location of the Dean home place. The first reunion took place actually though at my grandmother's home, which you will visit now. Unfortunately, the quality of the film here is not as good as one might hope, but anyway, it gives you an idea of what this early reunion was like. I think you can see here the old well at my grandmother's standing there in the background. I don't know who most of these people are, but I will try to point out the few that I do know. Actually coming into view now is my grandmother's back, and standing beside my grandmother was my mother. In the distance there with the black hat is Mama Dean. That's my grandmother holding the cup, and my mother standing beside her, and my grandfather is behind the 2 of them. I'll call your attention to the mailbox, which looks like a house standing in the background. That was built by my grandmother and looked just like her house. The small one-room house in the background was the home of a black man who did odd jobs for my grandparents. An interesting thing was that he ate most meals with them. I was fascinated by the fact that he sweetened his coffee with Karo syrup. Now here we are at the Dean home place. I always refer to it as Mama Dean's. And this is the way the house looked in the early 1940s. And these 2 pictures were, as you can see, taken in 2006. Well, it's now 1946, and we're at the home of Thaddeus P. Dean and his wife, Mary Jackson. As you can see, the family members are leaving the front porch and walking out onto the grounds of the home and getting ready for the reunion. The lady in the black dress walking along is the person I call Mama Dean, or Mary Jackson, and with her is Aunt Martha Gray. Come along now are Laura Schubert, who's Aunt Belle's sister, and the other lady, I believe, is my father's mother, but I'm not really sure about that. Next you see Aunt Lola Jeffries and Thornton Jeffries. Aunt Lola is Mama Dean's half-sister. Aunt Lola is walking with Lloyd Eisenhart, and I don't know who the lady is that's walking with Uncle Jeffries. Well, it looks like the first order of business is to have a photo op for all the members of the Dean family. By that I mean the brothers and sisters who are Mama Dean's children. They're lining up here, and I'll identify them in order for you in just a minute. First in line is Martha Gray Dean. Behind her is Aunt Laura Bobbitt. Then Jackson Dean, Ray Dean, Irma Dean, and there's Mama Dean. And now we're looking at the other side. There's Ray Dean, Irma Dean, Mama Dean, that's Peter Dean, and my grandmother, Cornelia Dean. And now the families of Mama Dean's children are going to parade their families in front of the camera. That'll be coming up here in just a second. Okay, we're now ready for the parade of families. The first family is the Johnson family. You see from right to left my mother, Aunt Anna Lois, Margaret Johnson. It's my grandfather holding me, and my grandmother is in the black dress. The man on the far right is Lloyd Eisenhart, and the man behind my grandfather is Charlie Horton. And the little boy there with his mother is Philip Horton. And there goes the Johnson family. Next up is the Wheeler family with Aunt Irma, Spencer Wheeler, Becky and Dorothy are the two girls. Recognize these people. I don't actually recognize these people. Here comes Uncle Peter Dean. With his family. That's Aunt Gertie and Uncle Ray Dean. That would be the second couple there is Rhonda Gupton and Kitty Gupton. Here comes Aunt Lola Jeffries. Her husband Thornton Jeffries is next, and he's walking with Laura Schubert, who was Belle Dean's sister. And I think that's my father's mother on the inside, and again, I don't know who the lady is in the blue dress. So, there we go. And I think now it's time for Mama Dean to say a few words. And keep your eyes open because here comes a really good shot of Aunt Martha Gray. Now I'll let you enjoy the rest of this reunion in peace and quiet, since 98% of the people looking at this won't have a clue who these people are. But I hope you're interested in the attire and the way things are done back in the 40s for a family reunion. Coming up in the next few frames, you're going to see Lloyd Eisenhart holding his daughter Cornelia, and she's the daughter of Uncle Lloyd and Aunt Margaret, who was Margaret Johnson. The next person you'll see on the left is Uncle Peter Dean. The little girl is undoubtedly his granddaughter, but I don't know her name. And here you see yours truly, and after looking at me here for a minute, you're going to see Becky and Dorothy Wheeler. If I'm not mistaken, Becky Wheeler was at the 2006 reunion, and she was the oldest living member of Mama Dean's descendants. And here we all go off for a ride in the pony cart, and if I'm not mistaken, the person pulling the cart is either Aunt Laura Bobbitt or Aunt Gertie, who was Uncle Ray's wife. I'm not sure which one it is, but that's Jackson Dean behind her pulling us kids. And now here comes Jackie Dean pulling us again. I will tell you though that coming up next is a good shot of Cornelia Eisenhart, and that was her mother that just walked by, and pretty little girl, and here comes yours truly giving her a great big hug. Well, here we go with the 1948 reunion, and here you see Chuck Bland, Charles Bland, and Alfred Jackson Bland going for a pony ride, and that's Jackie Dean leading the horse and his father, Jackson Dean, walking along, keeping us from falling off. I'm not going to bore you to death trying to name all these people, but that's Aunt Gertie holding Trudy. Anyway, here's my mother with my brother, Alfred Jackson Bland, standing beside a picture of his namesake, Alfred Jackson. Not very fond of him, I take it. That's Uncle Jeffries. Mama Dean going in. And this is a nice picture of Uncle Pete's second wife, Aunt Lily Mae. That's Aunt Lola and her half-sister, Mama Dean, Aunt Lola Jeffries, Thornton Jeffries. One feature of the reunion that was just a barrel of fun was having all the children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren perform little things that they had learned, or little dances or little skits or something. Anyway, that was our entertainment for the day. Okay, coming up are some fairly nice close-up pictures of certain people. That's Aunt Lola Jeffries, that's Mama Dean, Thornton Jeffries. Of course, they're sitting at their private table. Mama Dean was a really sweet, lovely person. This is Aunt Lily Mae and Uncle Pete. And this is Aunt Belle, Jackson Dean's mother, or Jackie Dean's mother. And that's my grandmother, Cornelia Dean Johnson. That's Martha Gray Dean. And as they say in the funnies, that's all, folks.